Thank you, Devendra. Thanks for inviting me, and thank AIOS and our mentor, Dr. R.K. sir, Mohiddin sir, and my colleagues, Dr. Sharmila, Dr. Devendra, and Dr. Ravindra also for being here. This IC, thank you for inviting me also. I was speaking to you on web needling and Ologen. Ologen, as you all know, nobody has covered this, so I'll just speak a little bit about it. It's an anti-scarring agent without chemical inhibition, unlike MMC, and it results in a prominent filtering web with successful surgical outcome, biocompatible and biodegradable, and ready for use packaging. It comes ready, and this is how you use it. You apply the Ologen after you have fashioned the scleral flap and you made the ostium, and then you have sutured it, and then over the scleral flap you apply it, and then you close the conjunctiva over the Ologen. So the idea is that slow leakage of aqueous will get absorbed into the Ologen, and the fibroblasts which migrate into the bleb area in response to the aqueous coming out will have a sort of a regular appearance rather than a random fibrotic manner. And a nice article by Arun Narayanasamy in 2013 in which they compared the efficacy safety of collagen matrix in FecoTrap and with mitomycin C at 1 year. They found that Ologen needed 39% of them needed bleb needling with 5FU compared to mitomycin C blebs. So you can see that after keeping Ologen, actually your work starts becoming more and more harder, although the safety profile is far better than mitomycin C. So this is a video which will show you how to go about doing the Ologen. So this is a phakic eye, as you can see, and as we have been all the mentors are common. So you find that even I am placing the AC maintainer, and once the AC maintainer is in place, it's really tough to get past the Ologen. It's very tough. You can even make a small buttonhole. Fortunately, the Tenon's is so good that it overrides the conjunctiva and Tenon's overrides, and then you can sort of make sure that the openings are not over one another. So that helps you. But the idea is that you have to make a opening, clean the opening from the episcleral tissue and the Ologen, and also the subconjunctive tissue and the Ologen, and enter the antechamber so that more and more fluid comes out and from the eye, and you have a good, nice diffuse bleb. The idea is to tackle it from both sides. You go from, if you're right-handed person, you go from now you can see that the antechamber is entered, and as soon as you, there's a little bit of decompression, you'll find that blood regurgitates into the antechamber. You can find a streak of blood going in there as you come out, because from the episcleral tissue, blood will enter the antechamber. And you can have the AC maintainer on to get the nice diffuse bleb formation. So that becomes your end point. And if you want, you can approach it from the other side also, that is your left-hand side. And a very important trick is that you must not give mitomycin C in these eyes. So no 5-fluorouracil or no mitomycin C, because they tend to absorb and they may cause scleral necrosis deep down. And you may even have a perforation of the conjunctiva, and you can have the severe hypotony. So avoid mitomycin C injection before when you're using bleb needling for Ologen. And this is the endpoint. The other issue is that you can always give injection dexamethasone. So you can give dexamethasone and then increase the steroid post-operatively, as Dr. Mohiddin has already mentioned. Coming to repeat trabectomy, and this is a nice article which from the Shankar Nethralaya group, the outcomes of repeat trabectomy mitomycin C with either TRAB alone or with combined with phacoemulsification. They reported a good success of, you can see that the qualified success is 89% in TRAB and 79% FecoTrab, and that is for IOP less than 21 millimeters of mercury. And for IOP less than 17 millimeters of mercury, it is 77 and 71, and IOP even lower, that is 14 millimeters of mercury, you have good qualified success. Complete success not so good in very low IOP. So repeat TRAB has its own issues. And the cause of failure in that article mentioned that it's a duration of surgery. If it's been done less than 4 years after the primary TRAB, then you can have a problem. If success not so good. Secondary glaucomas, mainly because you don't have much space or the antechamber is so distorted that you may not have a very good ostium. A younger age and FecoTrab and Phoenix-based flap, these three conditions are not very conducive to very low intraocular pressure. So less than 14 millimeters mercury, you may not get such low pressures if you were to do a repeat trap in such conditions. And Dr. Sharmila, who is here with us, she has also published in 2019 a very nice article on the surgical outcomes of repeat trap augmented with high dose mitomycin C. So both these papers used high dose mitomycin C of about 0.4 milligram percentage, and they were at the discretion of the first paper was discretion of the authors if they want to use for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and here the mitomycin C was used for I think two time slot, that is less than 3 minutes and more than 3 minutes. And they had a very good successful outcome. But the number of medications, if you were to see as the nature of the disease is, you were not able to reduce the medications too much, but the intraocular pressure did come down from 32 millimeters to about 16 millimeters at the end of 1 year. So these are quite rewarding procedures to be done instead of planning for a very major intervention, for example, something like an implant surgery. So RK sir has already mentioned how to plan for such eyes. So I'll just show you a small video that when you're planning a repeat trabeculectomy, always better to check whether the conjunctiva is mobile or not, because already one area has been scarred. You want to operate in a eye area which has a good mobile conjunctiva so that your blood can form better. Successful outcome is brought about. And this is a video of repeat trabeculectomy. You can see that the trabeculectomy has been done correctly at 12 o'clock meridian. So either you can go to the temporal side, or you can go to the nasal side and then do the procedure. So superior rectus traction suture is being applied. You can also use a corneal traction suture. You have to find out whether the mitomycin C has been used prior or not. And if it has been used, it's better to avoid dissecting in that area. So you find that incision is being given just adjacent to the blood, because you would like to have mitomycin C application at as much area as possible. But be very careful when you go close to the blood. If it's very diffuse or cystic, there is a very high chance of perforation. And the dissection also has to be as posterior as possible, and remove all the tenons as much as possible. And episcleral tissue has to be dissected. We are going a little nasally in this situation. And once you have adequately dissected, it's better to place the cauterize gently and place the mitomycin C. And after placing the mitomycin C, copious wash is being done. And the flap technique is the same as what you would do. The main disadvantage is that you tend to have a smaller flap in these eyes. It's not your usual level of flap. You tend to have a smaller flap, and that is actually a disadvantage, because many people, once these steps of the surgery are complete, then you can close a normal way. This is a once the flap sutures have been applied, this is a wing sutures which we apply. The important thing is that you have to take it over the cornea, because the blood will not hold on, because it's already been maybe treated by mitomycin C. It's very friable. So only the edge you can utilize, but the first episcleral bite, which we usually take, will go far ahead and try to bring forward the conjunctiva as much as possible. So you have a good closure. So 3 throws are applied. And once you have the 3 throws applied, you bring the conjunctiva as much forward as possible so that you don't see the peripheral iridectomy. So the conjunctiva will be almost watertight. There will be some amount of leak, but it will definitely be watertight. And then check for seedles at the end of the procedure so that there is no leak. Once you have done the procedure, you have to release the suture post-operatively. This is a inferotemporal trap, which we used to do almost 15 years back, when we didn't have the RD implants for managing such situations. So this is a release of the releasable suture in a repeat trap. We were not able to do it superiorly, and you can see that these sort of procedures we used to do a long time back. And coming to the points to be considered, when you plan such a surgery, the difference between the primary trap and the retape trap, as much as possible, should be more than 4 years. If the first trap has not worked, then very less likely that the second trap will be working. The secondary glaucomas are very important, mainly because you have less conjunctival site for repeat procedure, and the antechamber can also be distorted, because if you are operating in for example, high PAS syndromes, high PAS sort of situations like Axenfeld or eye syndromes, you may not have space for doing a repeat procedure. Younger age, phonics space flap, as I mentioned, and phaco trap have high chance of success. Less chance of success, and you cannot bring the IOP to very low teens. Mitomycin C has been published. Here we use 0.02 milligram for 4 minutes, rather than for use a higher concentration for 2 minutes or less duration of time. Thank you very much for patience.